WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are taking the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road. I have my little orange cup. Everything's orange now. I have Oriole Park behind me. It's Rutschman time. We're all excited around here. We also have some home run games at the Maryland Lottery. We're going to be giving away some Betty Boop scratch-off tickets. We've got confirmed dates now through June for the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. It is all brought to you by the Lottery, as well as our friends at Goodwill and our newest sponsor, Window Nation. And my wife is excited for me when I got the Window Nation swag, and she said, "Ooh, those shirts, they're soft. That's nice." Our friends at Window Nation, I do a lot of things around here, and I talk a lot about local issues and local charities, and they have aligned me with a local fellow, and I'll see him. I'll honk the horn all the way down to Meriwether Post, not far away. Peter Watts is a local business owner, a photographer and a videographer. I'm looking forward to talking about art, like the art behind me here, the art of making the Orioles better. Peter also works with our friends at Window Nation in regard to doing things and biking and raising money for cancer patients. And I learned a lot about the Allman Foundation when my wife was struggling a number of years ago. Peter, how are you, man? Good spring day. It's a good day for a bike ride, right?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely beautiful. Well, it depends. It depends on, what's going to look like in 10 minutes from now. But seems like it might be a good one.
Well, for you ride, and our friends at Window Nation, by the way, 2 for 1. I'll be telling you all about that, giving you a deal and all that while I give the peace sign here. Getting involved and doing things, and I know Window Nation's been involved with you, but you've just dedicated your life to trying to raise money for people, and I want to give our platform a chance to hear your story.
All right, yeah. So as far as fundraising, I've been doing for about 5 years, supporting the cancer community. I typically do these pretty heavy-duty endurance events. So I've walked and biked across the state of Maryland.
See, I thought it was something to drive across the state last year, right? I did 30 crab cakes, and I'm doing 31, and I'm stopping at breweries this time because I got thirsty last summer. It was August, it got hot, so I'm doing the breweries, and you're biking past all these same places, man.
Yeah,
you're
man,
biking,
it's 329
you smell the crabs
miles.
in the front, the crabs in the back. You're seeing all the things that I see, and you're not doing it on like 68 or 70, right? You're doing it on roads where you're seeing these beautiful manicured. What a beautiful state we have. That's the first thing I would tell anybody.
And seeing it on the bike is the way to go. I mean, like 329 miles is a lot, but I can't think of a better pace at which to travel and kind of take it all in. You meet a lot more people too. I think the way we travel now is a little bit different. You're zipping by these cool little towns. They're typically on the highway. But on the bike, I don't know. There's adventures, different people to meet. Everyone's got a little story. Life's a little bit slower, especially when you get further out west. The mountains are beautiful. We got a little bit of everything. It's fantastic.
So when did you begin biking? My buddy Chip, and I'll give him a free plug. If you're down in Nags Head, my buddy Chip Cowan runs a bike shop down there. He was the kid in the neighborhood with the mongoose and, the bike and BMX, all of that. And his whole life, he's got a wrench and is putting tires on. He's the king of Nags Head biking. And he gives me a bike when I'm down there. I'm going to be in Amsterdam in a couple of weeks. They're trying to throw me on a bike over there. I almost killed myself last time.
Right.
Avoid the cannabis when you're in Amsterdam. No good with the biking. But I would say we've all been on a bike, right? I mean, it's an American thing. I used to say everybody played baseball or softball. I'm not sure about that anymore with the lacrosse community around here, but I think everybody's been on a bike. We've all experienced that. The one thing I would say, looking over your shoulder, and you have the sort of superimposed map of Maryland, dude, once you hit Lake Hagerstown, I watched the bus try to go up the hill to Breezewood, and then I drive. I had never really been to Cumberland in my life. It's beautiful, but my God, the hills, dude. There ain't no flats going through there, man.
Right. Yeah. It's some pretty heavy duty climbing. But they always follow up with an amazing descent. I mean, you're dropping down these hills at 45 miles an hour. It's a grind for sure, but
that feels like a peppermint patty, right? Little wind in your hair.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so the hustle. Let's talk about the hustle, and we're going to talk about Window Nation and Window Nation Cares and things you're doing as well. But you're doing an event in July, and my endurance events are 30 baseball ballparks around the country where the biggest issue was just making sure that I hit the alarm right and got the right rental car and got on the right flight from Seattle to Denver, you know? So
Right.
I've done these sort of weirdly passion play. I'm about to do it again in August. This is a different thing when there's endurance involved. You're not the first sort of endurance athlete I've had on. I've had, you know, wild triathletes and people doing, I've been on the radio 31 years. So anytime people were passing through doing something that was cause related that involved 50 states and 50, any of that stuff. But what you're doing here, this is Maryland, and this is not your first time at the rodeo. You're doing something like this, right?
No, exactly. So like I said, like I've done a number of endurance events. Like I did Cleveland to Maple Lawn in about 4 days, which was 418 miles. Last summer I did pretty much a very similar route to this, where it's 500 miles around the state of Maryland over the course of a week. Um, and so that's what this event is doing. It's going to be like 500 miles around the state of Maryland over the course of a week. It's going to benefit the Allman Foundation, the Horizon Day Camp, and Respite Retreats. All three of these organizations support the cancer community.
Tell me about your working with cancer. I mean, I got involved with There Goes My Hero when my wife was in peril. We needed a donor to save her life, and I met cancer patients from all over the world at Johns Hopkins. My wife spent 155 nights in the hospital, so you know, we just met people of all backgrounds, all everything. And, you know, my wife had a cancer, right? But it was leukemia, leukemia lymphoma society, LL. So you start to learn all of these acronyms and different things. Tell me about Allman and tell me about your journey with this, because you're not a cancer patient or a survivor, right?
No, so I'm not a survivor. And to be honest, I kind of fell into it. Like you asked me about when I started biking. For a number of years, like I was really unhealthy. I was smoking, I was just drinking, I was trashing my body. At
Wow.
one point I
Okay.
was living
So
in
you hadn't been on a
Mexico.
bike in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think so. I'm 38. I moved back to the country from Mexico. I was living in Mexico working in sales for a while. I was like smoking heavily and barely able to breathe, sitting on my sofa, like playing video games. Like
How
it
old
was
are you at that point?
intense. So I was like 29, that I could legitimately like barely get a breath. When I was in Mexico, and the way they party down there, the way they hang out, like it's a very like smoker friendly environment. And I would smoke at least a pack a day, if not more. If I was going out with clients, it could be like 3 packs. And like I would just wake up just like fighting for breath. And I was tired of it. So I
And you
decided to
didn't
make
own a bike at that time, or did you?
no, I mean I
Okay.
was super unhealthy. Like I barely walked to my car. You know, like it was not into health at
Wow.
all. So I come back to the States, decide to really make some big changes. I quit smoking, just reorient my life around health and wellness. I also do a lot of like internal work to like clear up some like depression, anxiety, some pretty heavy stuff that I've been dealing with for a while. And in the interest of brevity, we'll snap forward to like I guess I was around 34, 35 when I got introduced to cycling. And you know, as a buddy of mine, he's like, hey, I think you'll really like it. Like, here's this bike I found on Facebook. It was like $600. I was like, sweet, let's see what's up. And so as soon as I get on that bike, though, there's something about like hitting like 5, 10, and then like 20 miles. And instantly in my mind, I'm like, how far could I take this? Could I like bike to, you know, Pittsburgh? Could I bike around and kind of like travel? I was like, thought that would be really fun. So a friend of mine sees me biking and she's like, hey, do you want to bike across the state? And I'm like, sure, why not? Let's check it out. And then later she's like, oh yeah, there's also a walking portion. And then she's like, oh, we're also raising money for children of cancer. And I'm like, that sounds great, but I didn't have any like strong attachment to it at that point. So anyway, that August, I'm on the top of WISP and I'm with a team and we start walking a marathon east. I didn't really train properly at all. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of in shape now. Like I don't need to train. I'm on my feet a lot. By the end of the day, I'm pretty sure I had stress fractures on both my feet. I was like limping along, barely able to hang. Um, and that week was absolutely miserable, but I brought in, you know, like 2 or 3 grand. I was really happy with that. I met some of the kids that we were supporting. That was really impactful. There's something special about, you know, with a lot of the kids I've seen that are going through that, they still just like have that element of play. There's still like that childhood quality or
We
that
would
they
see it
have.
every day at the
And
hospital. You know,
it's
my wife couldn't, it
beautiful.
was very difficult for us to bear.
Right.
down in the common area, the outdoor area. This is before COVID, but this is where people went out with their poles attached
Right.
to them to catch fresh air. It was
Right.
shocking how many people outside were smoking, quite frankly,
Yeah.
with a
Right.
pole attached to them outside of Hopkins. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw,
Yeah. It's
crazy stuff, but
right.
with children, it was always that will inspire you. If you see a sick
Right.
child, you will want to help. You will.
Yeah. So, and what's notable is the second year I went back and like I really trained properly and like physically I met all the requirements of the event. I think my fundraising was around like 5 grand. And then what's kind of most notable about that trip was or the second year doing it was I met this kid Nick. Our team was we were in Ellicott City actually, and there's this torrential downpour. The rain was intense, so we had to stop in this bike shop. And one of the kids that we were supporting on that particular day happened to live in Ellicott City, so he actually came to visit the team. This is 2019, and everyone like they weren't quite sure how to be around him. And I have this thing where like I don't care who you are, I'm gonna tease you a little bit, I'm gonna mess with you. Like it's my way of connecting. I treat everyone as if they're my best friend, like just the thing that I do. So I was like talking to Nick and like he spoke Spanish too, and I was like testing him with that. He was testing me, and we were joking around a little bit. And there's just like this really cool connection I had with him. So anyway, we go about that the rest of that week, and again, it was like a super successful trip for me. Like raised a good chunk of change. Like physically, I met all just performed well. And then the following year was 2020, and so we were debating as a team, do we do this event again because it's COVID, is it responsible or whatever. But that summer 5 of the kids that we had supported the year before passed away, so including Nick. And like that was really hard. It was I think the reality of what's happening for this population just really sunk in, and then a switch was flipped. I just kind of took off with it, and I and this will actually tie into Window Nation, how they've shown up for me. I approached them to be a sponsor on the year that we went in 2020, and Harley over there stepped up, and it's a really powerful trip that third year because of having lost the kids, and then just I think creating something positive for people to rally around during COVID, because it was such a trying time, and it was there's a lot of chaos in the news. I think people enjoy just like mostly people follow us on social media and like check in, and people are watching it like they watch TV, and they were able to watch something again like just really positive when your alternatives or the chaos in the news or the fighting on social media. Here we were doing this really great thing, and it was just powerful. So anyway, I get back, and I take Harley out to dinner, which is a joke because we went to his restaurant that he owned, and I'm pretty sure he paid, but I wanted to thank him for sponsoring. And he was talking about opening this deli in Maple Lawn based off this deli that he and his father went to in Cleveland. I want to say it's called Corky and Lenny's, or I'm blanking on the name. Anyway, a point of connection between Harley and I is his father passed away 3 years ago from lung cancer. And when I was 19, I lost my mom. It wasn't cancer, it was lifestyle choices. And then when I was 24, I lost my dad. And there's like, there's something. So anyway, we were just like kind of connecting and just talking about wanting to do more, do something positive. And he and I kind of crafted this last minute ride for me to do from Cleveland, from the deli that he and his dad went to, all the way to this deli in Maple Lawn that he was opening in honor of his father, really. And so hopped in one of his company vans, went to a satellite office up in Cleveland, and then rode my bike 418 miles back home in 4 days. We brought in like 30 grand. It was insane. It was absolutely nuts. I was on the C&O Canal with a road bike, which is like, the skinny tires. But
Is it Mikey and Mel's, by the way?
it is,
All
yeah.
right, good.
They have
I'm good at that. By the way, I want to
amazing Rubens. I highly recommend.
see, my wife's going to hear all about that. Peter Watts is our guest here on behalf of our friends at Window Nation to talk about his ride and the hustle. Tell me about the hustle and where that, because I did the hustle back in '78.
Yeah,
It was a
I'm
good
sure
dance.
a lot of it. So anyway, after that event with Cleveland, I found myself wanting to do something more. I found a different organization that I really connected with called the Horizon Day Camp. So this was I guess last year, 2021. I wanted to do something solo, and I actually did that one. I kind of just like crafted like my dream ride and wanted to benefit the Horizon Day Camp. They do a summer camp for children with cancer. They have year-round programming. They're a fantastic organization. Their
An
camp starts at the
incredible
end of this
local
summer.
organization too. I mean, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
mean, and
right
they've
here.
been such a huge resource. But anyway, so
By the way, for anybody wondering what Horizon Day Camp is, and I've known about this for a number of years, it's a place where kids with cancer can go and be and enjoy themselves, while they're fighting and after they fight. So there,
yeah,
Sunrise Association and Horizon Day Camp. I want to make sure they get their due.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so they have a free 6 week program every summer for the kids, and it's massive for these kids to be in a place where people kind of understand what they're going through, where they don't have to be insecure about their scars or the other like just I mean the byproduct of the treatment is rough. So going to like a camp that isn't for cancer patients, they get looks, it's just uncomfortable for them. So this is a great place. It's a sanctuary and it's awesome. It's a ton of fun. Anyway, I raised about 40 grand for them last year riding my bike around Maryland. And it was just powerful. I wish I could show you some of the media I have from like when I rolled into camp, like all the campers were like lining
Anybody can follow. What's the hashtag, or is there a
so I
website?
think the best way to keep up with me, like I use my personal Instagram account to share my stories, and that's a great place to just kind of follow along, get a sense of what I'm about. I also have like some nonsense with my dog on there. Like, yeah, I'm a photographer. I like to play around with Photoshop. I mean, there's all kinds of entertaining stuff. But yeah, definitely every summer I do these rides and I share all about it there. So if you want to learn more about this type of event, if you're curious about it, that's a great place to kind of like follow along. And all that led me into like what I want to do this year, right? So this year, the hustle, it's a team event. There's gonna be 5 guys that are going the whole course with me. We have our map on the screen behind me. We're starting in Baltimore. We're gonna zip down into Annapolis, hit Ellicott City, go out to Clear Spring, hit Cumberland, Deep Creek, all the way back to Clear Spring, make our way to Maple Lawn, and then back to Baltimore.
It's a lot of crab cakes there, a lot of vineyards and several
Yeah,
breweries. And
exactly.
I'm going to do that exact route, except I'm going to do it in a car with $6 a gallon gas. No
You're
offense to my
missing
friends at
out,
Royal
man.
Farms, but we got to watch ourselves. It's going to be cheaper for you to do it.
Right.
Give
Yeah.
me this, man. You've done these roads and stuff. I'm doing the Crab Cake Tour in August, and I'm actually going west to start my tour. And we'll be in Ocean City a couple times before it's all over with. And places like Blackwater, Antietam, and Rocky Gap, and Swallow Falls out beyond. I mean, just beautiful parts of the state. I'm 53. I hadn't seen these till I was 52. So last year I saw places that I want to go back to. Where do you stop the bike? And or where would you say to a tenderfoot in Baltimore, this is a place you got to go. This is a place you got to see that maybe I haven't seen? Because when I began this last year, it really was about like, I still have not been to Rock Hall. There are places in the state I just haven't been, and I've lived here my whole life. I've only been to Solomon's once when I went last year. Yeah, I've
Right.
only been to Deep Creek once when I went last year, and we loved it. We need to go back. So some of these places, but for a guy that's seen the terrain the way you have, I definitely want to hear a couple of recommendations from you.
So here's the thing. Everyone hears about the beach. I feel like Ocean State does a great job promoting every summer, and a lot of people haven't explored Western Maryland, and it's beautiful. And you know what? There are Marylanders out there that need our support too. They need the income from tourism. You got a lot of good, like saltwater people that I don't know. I think just could use a little bit more positivity. All the attention's around Baltimore, all the attention's around like the DC area and the beach, and then hiking in the Catoctin Mountains. Deep Creek's incredible. They got a good culture out there, a lot of like that boat vibe. There's oh gosh, there's this donut truck called Glazed and Confused. I forget what it's
By the
near.
way, have you ever had a
The truck.
Crumpy's donut in Hagerstown? Now, this is
I
interesting for
haven't.
you. I told my friend this story. So these are the stories you learn when you go places. I looked it up for like a donut, and it said on Google that it opened at 7 p.m. And I turned to my wife. I'm like, that can't. It's a donut shop. How do they open at 7 o'clock at night? And I learned by Googling that it was 7 o'clock at night because I had planned to do it in the morning because I thought it was a typo. and there's a line waiting for these donuts at 7 o'clock at night, and it's in a neighborhood, in like an alley, in like a shack
Love it.
in the
Yeah.
back, and it's been there since 1943, so, or 34 maybe, one or the other, but it's been there 100 years. So there is my tip for you. At the end of a long day, when you need a little carb load, you could get yourself a peach glazed or something like that, or just,
Right.
whatever
Perfect.
you like,
I'll have to
But
make a
there you
note.
go. So you mentioned donuts. I give you free donut. Have
I
you done the
appreciate
ice cream
it.
shop out there, the famous float joint? You know about this place?
What's it called?
I don't know. I forgot. It's west of Hancock. It's but east of southwest of Cumberland, maybe.
Interesting.
It's a famous place. You need to get ice cream. Top 10 place in the world, whatever. It was okay. I mean, it's fine, but the
Right.
donuts were great at Crumpy. So there you go. I gave
Yeah.
you a donut.
I
Well,
appreciate it.
I figure you're biking, for crying out loud. You got to eat
Yeah.
something crappy.
Yeah, it's funny. I just did a test ride on the route around my birthday in March. And I actually did 365 miles, but then my seat actually snapped. Like it didn't fall off completely. So I had to call that ride short. But I looked at my calorie expenditure for 365 miles, and it was like 17,000 calories in that.
You can
Uh,
have a hot fudge sundae if you want.
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's sort of like a Napoleon Dynamite. You don't have to drink skim if you don't
I
want
mean,
to. I mean,
people think I'm out there raising money for cancer. Really, I'm just trying to eat whatever I want and bike around
well,
Maryland.
good. We'll get a crab cake and a beer. So your event is before. I'm leaving in August. You're going to be like July, mid July to late July, correct?
Yeah, so it's July 16th to the 22nd.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I want to follow along. You say the best way is just to follow you out on social media and
Yeah, like
Instagram, correct?
Instagram's a
BOS.
great place to kind of like follow along. Just I'll give people updates. I'll also like share about like, we still have some needs. There's a few things I do want to touch on. So yeah, I mentioned the Horizon Day Camp. There's also benefiting the Allman Foundation, which is really well known, and Respite Retreats. So for corporate philanthropy, if anyone works for an organization, they're looking for different opportunities for their employees to get involved, to do volunteer work, to make an impact. That's another great opportunity for people to get just kind of like a little bit more active in their community. These organizations, they need all the help they can get. If you've worked with nonprofits, you know that they're doing a whole lot with very little. They're always understaffed. So quality people that actually care, that have a good heart, that want to get involved, that's fantastic. That's actually one of the things with Window Nation. They're talking this year about how they want to do a little bit more than just writing a check. We're trying to get them set up to do a kind of like a carnival day at the Horizon Day Camp. There's still some limitations around how many people can be on site, but basically Window Nation can sponsor a day where they either like bring in a magician or they have other like really cool like activities for the kids. Yeah, they're on board with all that. They say beyond just like write a check, they want to have an impact, give opportunity to their employees to kind of get involved.
All right, man. Look, I Googled this because I care, okay? Because I did things on my trip last time. I pulled in the Rocky Gap, and I had never been to Rocky Gap, and I had never like heard anything about it other than it's there and they have a concert once in a while or whatever. I needed to go back. So we're starting the tour there just because like I only stopped in Peed, and I'm like, and I got back in the car because I had to get going to Cumberland. This time we're starting the tour there because that was one of the things I saw. Here's the place for you. Ready? It's south of 68. It's west of Cumberland. It's a place called Livy's, Livvy, Livv, like Liv Tyler, Livvy, Livy's Soft Serve. It is officially in Cumberland, but it is south and west of there, and it is sort of like a 4.9 star, world class, crazy milkshake ice cream place. And I would, what do you like? You like hot fudge? What are you into? Butterscotch? What are you into?
It's funny. You're gonna kill me. Actually, I'm not a big ice cream guy.
Well, then
Like, I
don't
feel
stop
like,
there. That's
you
more
know
for
what
me.
I mean, I'll check it out. Like I'm always like, I mean, if you find me some like sweet street tacos or like something a little bit more savory, like a banging wing spot, like that's always kind of been
All
my
right, all
jam.
right.
Yeah.
I'm in search. Look, I'm looking for beer and crab cakes, but along the way, if I happen to find some great ribs,
Yeah.
I'll send you that way up in Emmitsburg because I know
Yeah,
a
yeah.
place. All right?
all that can come my way.
You
Exactly.
got it, brother. Well, look, good luck. The Hustle begins July 16th on behalf of Almond Foundation and the incredible work that Horizon Day Camp does with children battling cancer, and of course our friends at Window Nation and their CARES program. Great to meet you, Peter Watts. And if and next time I'm driving around and I see the crazy guy on the bike, I'm going to honk the horn and say, that might be Pete right there.
Yeah, yeah, it very well could be.
Especially if you're going up a mountain out in Western
Right,
Maryland.
exactly. If I'm suffering.
If there's nothing you take out of this in helping children and the things we do, I would just say I had a million people in a million ways say, "Oh, it's pretty out west in Maryland. You should go see. It's pretty out there."
Uh,
And I didn't really know until I got there last summer. And Roderick's was trying to get me out there fly fishing, the whole deal. Go west, go see Western Maryland. It really is beautiful out there. Pete, I appreciate your reminder of how beautiful it is out there, and good luck on the journey out there. The Hustle is there. We'll be telling you more about that. And all of our friends at Window Nation, I got the new swag, and the shirt's really comfy. So anybody sees Eric, tell him that I like the shirts. My wife wants one in her size because it's nice and soft as well, and it's got the peace sign, which we dig. I am Nestor. We're taking the Maryland Crab Cake Tour out on the road. We had a vegan crab cake last week at the Land of Kush with Brooke Learman and through Vignaraja. We had Kirby Fowler on talking about brew at the zoo this week. It's all courtesy of our friends at the Maryland Lottery, our friends at Goodwill Industries, where they're putting people to work, and our friends at Window Nation. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking. Baltimore, positive.